Hi, Mike.
Hi, Paige. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm terrific. Thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you for taking the time to talk to us. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate it too. Thank you.
Well, let's start back at the beginning of Beauty and the Beast real quickly. I know you obviously had a long career on Broadway. How did you end up getting the role of Belle in the movie?
Well, like you said, I was working on Broadway and had been in New York for quite some time, and then I read about the audition in the New York Times and called my agent and said, I have to be seen for this. So, and actually Howard Ashman and Don Hahn, the producer, they were looking at Broadway people primarily anyway. Mm-hmm. And so I auditioned with 500 other actresses in New York, went through 5 auditions, and then got the job.
Wow. What do you remember the most about the recording sessions for the film?
You know, what was so great is that they took so much time with it. You know, the film was actually 4 years in the making, and 2 years we got to work on and off again. But the thing I loved the most was the fact that I was recording with Robbie, mm-hmm. and nowadays they don't really let you do that anymore.
Right.
So that enabled us to have spontaneity and develop a chemistry right away, and it was just wonderful. It was one of those times in your life where all of the animators, all of the creative team, the staff, the production staff, everybody had the same visual concept of what this is supposed to be. Mm-hmm. So it was one of the things where every element was perfect. There was no negativity at all. It was just everybody had the same view.
Right. What sort of inspiration did you draw on for Belle? Is there a lot of you in her?
Yeah, to be honest with you, yes. I totally identified with Belle when I was a kid, because I was a kid that was like, you know, listening to Gershwin and and copying Sargent paintings and Turner paintings, and my friends were like listening to Led Zeppelin, you know. I was totally odd, you know. I was just, you know, I didn't do the things that other kids did. I was going to acting class, you know, and then by the time I got into high school, I think actually my peers started to find it kind of cool, you know. Right. But when you're age 6 through like 13, that was the time frame where I identified with Belle, right. Where she totally, being the bookworm, you know, felt totally out of place.
Sure.
So
you've come back to playing her now a number of times for Disney and various you know, DVDs and movies, right. and stuff. What's the most rewarding thing for you about playing her consistently?
I love the fact that she's revolutionary in terms of the role model of the kind of person and princess that she is. The fact that she's the first one that is really searching for adventure, not searching for a husband, or you know, she's the first one to be into books and to be quirky and odd. Right. I love the fact that so many girls identify with her. I get mail all the time, Mike, that they love the fact that she loves to read, and also you'd be amazed how many girls write to me and say, finally a brown-eyed princess. I feel like I look like her now. Right. And it's interesting, they did change up her look when they started drawing her. She was really too perfect. She was like Angelina Jolie / Elizabeth Taylor. Right. And then they made her a little bit more quirky and still beautiful, but quirkier, where little girls could identify with her more. Right. And I think it really, obviously, it's really paid off, because the amount of kids that respond to her, it's just unbelievable. Belle and Ariel both, because they are kind of quirky and different. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But it's wonderful also to be Belle, because, you know, I get to do things with Disney and children's charities, you know, and right. I get to get older and she stays the same.
That's nice. And, you know, speaking of which, that kind of leads to my next question, is that you are basically now going to be remembered forever as this iconic character. I mean, Disney creates characters mm-hmm. that just live on for decades and decades and decades. So, like, does that ever just kind of hit you that, you know, 100 years from now, kids will probably still be singing your songs and identifying with the character that you helped to create?
You know, initially I didn't really understand it and get it, which is kind of stupid, considering I grew up loving Disney movies and loving Cinderella and Bambi and Snow White, you know, and now mm-hmm. I'm a part of that legacy. And it really started to hit me, you know, a few years after the film came out, and just the amount of response and mail and everything else that it had. Right. And the fact that it was also global response, not just in this country. Mm-hmm. You know, the mail comes from other countries as well. It's it's a great honor, and I feel like God really blessed me on this one.
Absolutely.
And Mickey as well.
Exactly. Now, a couple of years back, you played Belle in the Kingdom Hearts 2 video game, and I was just curious how, recording for a video game is different than recording for a movie.
It's totally different. When I record for the video games or the interactive toys, I'm usually phone patched from Las Vegas to LA, and I have two directors. Ben Hopp is usually my director, or Renee, and literally he'll give me a series of lines, and I'll do the lines three different ways, like right in a row, and then he'll direct it, or he'll change it, or he'll say, I'll take A's of, A or C or whatever, and it's just totally different. I mean, I'm kind of like on my own.
Right.
But Ben and I've gotten a really good relationship over the years, and he loves my studio in Vegas that I record at Oakdale Post. I've done so many projects through them. It's like, I think probably 90% of what I've done has been through Las Vegas. So,
right.
But it's very different. When I was recording the movie, it's really, you're doing a film, you're doing an acting job. It's a, in some ways, Robbie and I both feel like we were, performing in a Broadway show when we were doing it.
Sure.
It's so written in that style.
Right. Do you get recognized by voice when you're out in public ever? Because you don't over the phone, at least, you don't sound exactly like the Belle in the movie. I'm wondering if, like, when you're out and about, people ever go, I know your voice from somewhere.
Really only if I soften it. It's my voice. Like, for example, if I soften it with you right now, it's like, bonjour, I'm Belle. How are you? Just like a softer version of my voice.
Sure.
And there was one time where a little boy came up to me. It was right after the film came out in the grocery store. He said, are you Belle? I don't know. I have a feeling he saw me on TV or something.
You never know. They're funny that way.
Who knows?
They on different kinds of things.
They do.
And out of curiosity, because I actually work with some voice actors from time to time, do you have any advice for people who are looking to get into that field, looking to do acting with their voice? What's something you would tell them that's good advice?
I think it's really important that you study. If you find a really good teacher to help you, and just constantly record yourself and do playbacks and listen from, because you really can't tell unless you keep, playing back and hearing your own voice. But I think it's just there are some really good voice teachers around, and the tape recorder is going to be your best friend, and then once you feel like you've got something and you're ready to compete, then you put together a tape and you send out your tape and try to get an agent.
Right. Great.
Yep.
So any upcoming Belle work that you know of? Anything in the pipeline for Disney?
I'm just constantly recording toys and stuff like that. And I'm doing my show in Vegas, and right now I'm painting for Disney, which is kind of wonderful.
I love your paintings. They're fantastic. Your Belle paintings.
Yeah, thank
really
you.
Nice. I saw them on your website.
Yes, so I do my show in Vegas. I'm in Menopause the Musical at the Luxor in our 5th year.
Great.
And it's playing the soap star, and it's great to make women laugh every night.
Sure.
And I think Belle would approve of it because it's about empowering women. So.
Excellent.
So it's a good thing.
Great. I know I'm running short on time. Let me just ask you a couple real quick questions. What's one thing you want the world to know about you that they don't already know?
I'm a diehard LeBron James basketball fan. I'm a diehard NBA fan. I follow all 30 teams. I can tell you stats on every player in the NBA, but I'm a LeBron diehard.
Wow. I guess a lot of people don't know that, that's for sure. Great. Well, terrific, Paige. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk to us. I really appreciate it.
Okay, my pleasure.